Hey guys, welcome back to Lions Den Investments and Reviews. In today's episode, we're going to talk about an article here caught my attention, and it's the reason why I'm covering this is because as a long-term investor, people ask me, like, well, what kind of assets would you invest in long-term? And I always tell them that long-term investments, really, what it comes down to is your risk exposure, and so this kind of ties into that when it comes to risk exposure. And this article talks about Elon Musk revealing that Tesla was a month away from going bankrupt while trying to figure out logistics hell of ramping up production of the Model 3. So it provides a good example as to what I'm talking about with risk exposure when it comes to long-term investments. Um, I personally like to diversify for more long-term stuff. So, guys, when I'm talking about long-term, I'm talking about like 10, 15, 20 years on out, right? Um, you want to reduce your risk exposure so that you're not losing as much money long term, because the name of the game is to make money. Now, for short term, you might look at a single asset, kind of like a Tesla stock. And Tesla is not a bad company to own, but I just want to point that out that people that are invested just in Tesla, what if Tesla did go bankrupt, right? They would be out completely on their money. Whereas if you're invested in, say, like a broad index fund like the S&P 500, if one of those companies in that holdings um, goes bankrupt, well, they just take them off the list and they replace it with the next up and coming company, and you don't even miss a beat, right? I mean, you can sleep well at night. So that's what I'm talking about with long-term investments versus short-term investments, having a short-term mindset versus a long-term mindset, and looking at the different assets that you can use as investments while reducing your risk. Okay, you got to look at the odds, and that's why I don't like investing in just single companies for long-term investments. I might use them for creating some passive income, but you can do the same thing with these index ETFs. Okay, and they're much more diversified. So they'll hold, a list kind of like the S&P 500, and they'll track the performance of the S&P 500. But you're investing in pretty much the same companies. So if one of them goes bust or starts having problems internally, from a financial standpoint, you don't really have to worry about it. Here they're saying the electric car company's stock price dipped significantly during the period the CEO discussed in a Twitter exchange Tuesday. Now this article was written November 6th. They go on to say the company's stock price dropped about 37% in the period between June of 2017 and 2019. So, they lost quite a bit of money. Now, can you lose that kind of money in an index fund? Well, yeah, absolutely, but you got to think long term. So, what do markets always do? They always rebound, right? And if you're more diversified and you're in an overall broad market index, your chances of rebounding and getting your money back over time is going to be much greater than, say, if you had your money tied up with Tesla. Because here, back in 2017, 2019, you don't know. I mean, you have to go into their financial statements, peel back the earnings reports, look at what's going on with the CEOs, the vice presidents, the board of directors. So there's a lot of different moving parts with investing in single assets versus something that's passively managed. Okay, that's the biggest difference. This would be, if you were to invest in Tesla, it's going to be actively managed with all those different positions that I just mentioned there inside the organization. With an S&P 500 or an ETF that's passively managed, you don't have to worry about all that. Okay, so it reduces your risk. Um, but I just wanted to cover that for this video because that is something that a lot of people ask me. Is like, what would you think is a good investment as far as long term, even when it comes to creating passive income for yourself on the stock market? Now, again, like I said, you saw it here during the pandemic, right? The Dow Jones took a dip from like 20, we were close to 29,000 points and we dropped down to 18,000, right? if you know how to read technical analysis and fundamental analysis, you would have gotten out before any of that would have happened, and then you could have went back in uh, on the drop, at the bottom when we were at like 18,000 points, and just rinse repeat. That would be more of a short term play. If you didn't want to lose 37%, say like on an index fund, if in case hypothetically that's what would have happened. I don't even think we lost 37% on the Dow Jones. I'd have to go back and look, but it was a substantial amount. But either way, um, you have more control over your money as an investor outside of, say, like a 401k. So these are things that you want to pay attention to. But with that said, let's go over here real quick because I want to show you the charts. I actually made 2 trades today, this morning, roughly about 30 minutes. Okay, wasn't a whole lot of money I made, but it was enough to basically replace my day job for about 6 hours of work. Um, and so I circled where I got in on these trades. This one actually had been playing out since November 9th, but I got out today on that one, which was on Dash. Okay, and these are blockchain investments, by the way, so they're not stocks, but you can do the same thing with stocks. Um, and I just wanted to show you what I did. If we go to the 4 hour, so what made me decide to enter on this was the fact that we were about to break up on the MACD here on the daily, and I knew that because we were getting this crossover, we were going to break resistance on this downtrend, and that's exactly what we did. So you can see where I entered right there. We broke the downtrend, and we got this good pop here. But I honed in on the shorter time frames to see what the volume was like. Okay, so the volume over here, um, it wasn't a whole lot, but I got a buy signal off of one of my indicators that I use for the VWAP, and that signaled, okay, go ahead and get in. Um, Plus, I was looking at the MACD crossover over here. We were getting ready to go up. We had some volume there, and I was like, okay, this looks like a good trade because if we back out to the daily, we were getting ready. We also had an inverse head and shoulders pattern forming, which is a extremely bullish pattern for trend reversals, and you can see it right here. So anytime you guys see this, um, most of the time the price goes up, and you can see I had a price uh, projection here for it long term. We had to break first. We got to break resistance at $72.14. So if we do that, I can get back in on another trade here because we don't have any resistance on up to about $81. But that's just an example on Dash of what I did. The other one was OMG. Um, Really, it was something similar. I mean, on the daily, look at that big close above the trend line here. So you got this trend line, downward trend line. But we could put it anywhere in here, like right there. You could even move it down a little if you wanted to. But we closed above that on the daily. That's a big bullish indicator. And look at the volume, guys. The volume here is 2.208 million. On a normal day in volume, you get somewhere around like 600,000. Okay, so that was like 3-4 times the volume on a normal day, which told me again that we got a good buying signal, good entry. So I went in, I bought in right here on this move up, and just got a short trade in because I knew we had resistance right up here at 367. Okay, we did break through resistance, went a little higher, but the RSI here was approaching overbought. I didn't like where I was, knowing that the price would probably drop down because we hadn't closed above resistance levels yet. So, the for the odds of it hanging out up here for too long were pretty slim until we closed above. Being on a 3 hour, I would have had to wait 3 hours, and I wasn't willing to take that chance as I saw the price dropping. I went ahead, I was like, let's not be greedy and just get out with a short trade, right? Again, I'm playing that 80-20 rule though, So I don't have all my long-term investments tied up in these short-term trades. I use a 20% of my money or my funds goes to short-term, and then I just 80%. I keep it at 80-20 ratio for the total amount of money that I have invested, either long term or short term. Okay. So I just want to show you guys that real quick. Again, if you'll follow my channel, hit the like button, subscribe. What I'm showing you here, guys, is really some good stuff, because if your boss isn't giving you a bonus at work, well, you can, I'm showing you how you can give yourself a bonus. Okay. And it does work. It doesn't always work. I'm not 100% accurate all the time. I mean, I lost 4 trades before this, and then I had 4 consecutive winning trades in a row, just in the last few days, right? But I've only been doing, with playing with real money here since October 23rd, and I've got a 50-50 ratio right now going for wins and losses. But my winners, I let those ride, and then I cut my losses short. So I'm still in profit, even though I lost 50% of my trades. Okay. If you're not familiar with how that works, I don't right now. I'm trying to put together some videos on money management and trading, stuff like that. So I'm in the works of doing that right now. Don't have anything set or official, but I'm working on it at the moment. And if you want me to, just leave a comment in the video, and I'll cover a little bit more in detail on that kind of stuff. But with that said, guys, I hope you guys are having a good day. Let's see what happens here moving forward with the stock market, and how all that's going to respond with everything, all the craziness that's going on right now with the elections. I don't think anybody really knows what the outcome's going to be. Given that there's several state cases going on across the nation. You know, it's all political. I don't try to pay attention to that, because it really doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, I just focus on this stuff. But it does kind of have an effect on it, so you have to pay attention to it somewhat. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. And with that said, guys, you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.